Brothers and sisters. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. They done started some problems again up in this YouTube world. But it's okay. I'm back. There was an issue with my being able to post my comments, man. I couldn't put my stuff up in my own little Discord, my own little chat or whatever the hell. Like it was now my links are coming in, but I'm gonna make sure that each one of these links are right. So I'm gonna copy and paste it one more time. Okay. You should be seeing 5 links altogether, but YouTube might make it to where there's only 3 links in the actual video. So I'm gonna be careful and make sure I get them all there. Here we are. RIC. Sound victory. Oh my goodness. Now, maybe about 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, might not have been a whole 3 weeks, might not have been a whole real 21 days, but for sure been over 2 weeks. Uh, I was reading this article, and it's not the TASS.com article, which is like a Russian based or Russian sympathizing type of website. You know what I mean? I almost said restaurant. I don't know why, but the type of website that they more or less they're speaking. I mean, they're honest, but they're not unbiased. You know what I mean? It's just like anything in Americans type of stuff, like where they're going to tell you what they want you to know. Now, why it's called Sound Victory is for 2 reasons. Number one, that YouTube link is one of the coldest. That's one of the coldest links I've ever put in one of these things because I never needed to. I never needed to do it so much and so badly. I just think it's funny. Uh, I'm gonna have to do a trial run. They're talking about being able to share the screen again. I'll have to do a trial run, just not today, but when I do, it'll be because I don't want it to act a fool with me. You know what I'm saying? And then I have to restart the street. I'll just do a different one. But we'll see what happens real quick. Hold on. Let's see. Entire screen window. We should do a window. Then we're gonna pick this. Okay. So I'm not sure exactly if or can I just pick a Chrome tab and then I'll pick like that. Let's see how this works. View tab. Okay. And it's right there. So y'all can see me obviously. Okay. I mean, funny how they took all this away for years and they're throwing it back in. I don't know what that's about, but we'll see. And this is just one of the many articles on this thing, but I just wanted to read something to people. It's real simple. And the victory is sound. I don't care what nobody says to me. I know what the hell I'm talking about. Geneva, January 18th. Brazil has asked its partners in BRICS to delay its presidency in the group that also includes Russia, India, China, and South Africa from 2024 to 2025. Brazil's finance minister, Fernando Haddad, said on Wednesday. What day was that? Wednesday. Okay, so that was last week because we're coming up on Wednesday tomorrow. Get me. We have put off our presidency in BRICS so that it doesn't coincide with the G20, he told reporters on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos. The minister said that the purpose of the move is to do quality work in both cases. We have to delay the BRICS presidency for 1 year. That's one more year for American dollar dominance. And then after that, it's over. The reason why is because Brazil uh, is going to. This is why the stuff with Argentina is happening. This is why all this shit is going down. Because you have several different groups all fighting for power, right? You have several different groups all vying for the same pool, if you will. Now, here's the thing about this. I'm laughing because I said what I was going to keep doing, and then YouTube was like, fuck it, we'll let this nigga share the screen. And whoever else must have said something about it. Gave away a bunch of money to those streaming services for something that they could have done. I just laughed to myself how this works out. Now, here we are. Speaking at the WEF session a day before, Haddad said the string of presidencies at major international groups, the group of G20 BRICS, and the Southern Common Market, known as Mercosur, MERCOSUR, you see it there, heaps a lot of responsibility on Brazil. Luiz Ignacio Lula da Silva assumed office as Brazilian president on January 1. The socialist said the socialist, listen, the socialist said his foreign policy priorities includes plans to rekindle integration processes in Latin America, highlighted the role of BRICS and the G20, and touted international cooperation to counter climate change. They've been green for a long time down there. Even though shit is crazy in Brazil, they've been green for a long time. The new president said Brazil's main task for the next 4 years would be to restore trust and ensure predictability and stability to make the country more appealing to international investors. Stop right there. We'll stop sharing screen. We'll go back and I'll pull up the screen again. And so check this out. What we have going on in that situation right there, it's real simple. It's real simple. Um, you have a dynamic where the group that is known as BRICS, they're pretty much saying that they didn't want to have Brazil take over and then have to be coming to the G20 summit and looking at America in the face like, look, everybody has money that's backed by physical raw metals or some sort of resource that has true tangible value. It's not a fiat dollar. That being said, there was a young dude, and I forgot to get the clip, but I'll try to look for it one of these days. But I forgot to get the clip. Dude was talking crazy at the World Economic Forum. The little young dude, he can't be more than 40. He's a young dude. And he was talking wild and reckless one day, telling them fuck you, this and that, wilding out, going against all the socialists and all the communists. The next day he showed up, this dude had a shiner and was talking about everybody ought to be given a second chance and this and that. And I said, look, yeah, man, somebody done whooped his ass and told him, bro, man, you better get with the fucking program, nigga. We taking America and the whole West down. Right. It's sound victory. I know that doesn't seem like Meech, how was that so sound? Do people remember when I was sure I was positive. I was positive when I was like, I wasn't sure who was gonna win the presidency, but I told you I was sure that Trump really might not win. And I was like, I don't think he's gonna win after he said that crazy shit about they were trying to lynch him. Does anybody remember when Trump said that? Trump said, they're trying to lynch me. Yeah. He said that wild ass shit. And so I was like, man, I can't rock with that. This dude's tripping, bro. He's violent out. He really said that shit? He don't know what he's talking about. This is one of those kind of situations where it's like they're purposely waiting because he can always assume the presidency next year. They're going to be able to use everything that America has done. So you guys got to understand, Russia is a communist country. China is a communist country. Right on? Where they believe in socialism and all that stuff. I'm not saying I don't believe in socialism. I just I have yet to see a real world example where the individuals who were at the top in socialism are truly benevolent. So I just can't sign off on that. But that being said, individuals who are capitalists are not benevolent. So them being able to nobody you cannot argue for a free market and then ever argue anything moral ever in your life. You can tell me how you take care of your children and you do this. It doesn't matter. That's not a matter of morality. That's a responsibility. That's not a moral thing. Right on? You're responsible for that. So we're not going to right or wrong that. That's a responsibility that you have. Now we're going to talk about the morality of you can't come to me and tell me what you don't like about something. It doesn't matter. Right on? You can't make up all the rules and then tell me it's a free market. That's not free. That's you creating a system where you sequester and fucking pigeonhole all the resources to yourself, right on, or make it to where somebody has insurmountable odds against them at all times. How I know that Rick is about to just totally have a sound victory. Did y'all see this YouTube joint right here, right? I'm not gonna play the whole thing, right? And I don't want to get no strikes from YouTube on no bullshit because their stuff is so I'm gonna need y'all to go and check that out your whole self. Even though I don't put ads in my shit just because you put I'm gonna pull up the little the little thing. 1 second. No, 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 no. Cancel. Open a new tab. And let me go and pause this real quick. Yeah, because they got ads and shit in this shit. So I'm just gonna turn all that off. Skip. Pause. Okay. And here we are. One more time. Now, this is on BBC, right? Now I want y'all to realize and see this right here. Okay. I they can tell you whatever they want to tell you. I'm gonna let y'all come back to this later. I just want y'all to see like this shit is real. Okay. Y'all need to check this out. It's a whole 42 minutes. All 42 minutes and 2 seconds are worth watching and listening to. But why I want to point to this is that this is a group, a mercenary group called Spear. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to close that tab down. It's a mercenary group called Spear. And essentially what the video entails is that, former operators and the likes, whether they were Navy SEALs or Special Forces, whether they were Israeli commandos, whomever these individuals were uh, they were subcontracted out by the UAE, who was contracted by the United States to go after individuals who they said were terrorist extremists. Now, my pushback is this. Number one, where do you get off saying who's an extremist and who's not? You see what I'm saying? Number two, because if you can prove to me people have let off and used more suicide bombs and more vehicle borne IEDs and more improvised explosive devices just all over the earth in general, then there has been ordnance dropped from flying devices. You got me. You really do. But if that's not the case, once again, you can't try to morally grandstand after you did whatever you did to get to where you're at. That being said, though, very interesting concept where the it's pretty much it's being said or it's being accused that the United States and this stuff happened back in like you know 2013, 2015, stuff like that, right? So this is years ago. Word, this isn't just like this last year. I mean, it's ongoing. Spear allegedly, but I won't say allegedly. I'm gonna say they did because they said that they were there. And there was one guy who was excited about people that he killed. So I, I just look at it a little differently and I say, America did contract the UAE and said, hey, look, we can't operate on your soil, right on? It's against international laws, la di da. You know what I'm saying? You're a sovereign nation, this, that, the third. However, you guys have relationships with these parties or certain individuals who are in these countries that we're trying to affect immediately. So what they did was they got mercenaries to go in, show these guys how to kill the dudes, right? How to pull off these assassinations. And the craziest part is they said that they thought the shit that was happening up until 2018. This is for years and years. It's like 3, 4, 5 years. They thought that it was ISIS. Listen to what I'm saying, y'all. I'm sure that ISIS probably took credit for some of those attacks. I'm sure that these dudes work with guys who worked in the Islamic State. I'm not saying that these dudes, I'm not trying. When I say sound victory, the victory is sound because you can't go somewhere doing that and expect nothing. I mean, nothing. You expect nothing to happen to you. You expect there to be no level of so-called vengeance. I mean, listen. Imagine if whatever city you live in, another country, whole other group of individuals, right? Some who might kind of sort of look like you, but most of them really don't. They damn sure don't speak your language. Listen to my point. They say that you're a terrorist. They have you, and this is how it works. They have you connected in some sort of matrix with a known radical, and because you took a picture with this person, because you had a meal with this person, they can now say that you are a viable target. All in the same breath, if I did that and I'm the party who's attacking you, or I'm using somebody who used to be of unsavory company, or claim to be, or allegedly unsavory company, the the funniest part is, like they said in the little video, you can pretty much overlook that. You know, oh, somebody's past, you can look past that for something that's more important, that's greater than that. And I'm just sitting there wondering to myself, like, you hear that? So yeah, you're willing to go into somebody else's nation, say that these guys are terrorists, murder them, blow them up, shoot them up, kill their families, kidnap their families, rape the women, all kinds of fucked up shit. Hold on. And these guys will be the first ones to say, we're not rapists, we're professional. Shut the fuck up. Believe none of that bullshit you niggas is saying. You got me fucked up. That being said, the sound victory that's coming to Rick and that whole side of the world is the fact that they don't have to worry about America being on top much longer. What am I talking about? Yemen is standing with Israel right now. If I was a thinking man, and I am, but I'm just saying if I wasn't, right? But so if I wasn't a thinking man, but I am, as a thinking man, I would tell myself, damn, doesn't it look kind of crazy that right around the same time the civil war jumped off in Yemen, this group called Spear came out there? Look it up. You don't believe me? Watch that video. Don't you think it's sort of amazing that the same group they're calling a rebel group, Al Ansar, right? Uh, uh, that they're being looked at as what they're called terrorists, but some of these dudes were manufactured into being terrorists. Like literally, One of the dudes they tried to kill, they have no proof. No proof. They gave you no proof. They gave you no edification as to they blew this man's car up. Okay. He just thought it was going down in Yemen. He come to find out later, like he's like, yeah, man. Like when I found out that they blew up my car, I was like, oh yeah, they were after me. Yeah, that was a hit. Yo, could you imagine somebody calling you a terrorist and the same people calling you terrorist sent people to your nation to destabilize you and to create small factions within other factions so that way they could say that look at this, oh man, look at this over here. So these guys were, listen, Navy SEALs, special forces, Mossad, right on, whatever, IDF commandos, all those dudes was going over there and were being allowed to act pretty much as terrorists. Right. Before all these drones were being used as bombs, right? Who do you think was using them like that? That's right, Navy SEALs and the likes, all these clandestine warfighters, right? All these operators, sometimes operatives, they're different. An operative is somebody that typically works with an intelligence group, right? And an operator is somebody that's typically attached to a military unit. That's the difference. Those are the baseline difference. You may be an operative who was an operator, but you don't have to be an operator that was an operative because chances are you didn't come from the CIA or the FBI or the DIA or NSA or Department of Homeland Security or anybody you can think of. You probably don't come from them. There probably are a few transitions that happen, but more than likely, you don't transition like that. You transition from the military into one of them. So, anyway, you have a condition where, in a situation where individuals brought the terror to that land in the way that is used right now. Right. The same dudes who are attacking those ships off the sea, who do you think trained them to do that? Doesn't matter if the guys train them directly. If I train the people who trained you, you can say you're not responsible. I'm going to tell you something. That's not true. Azazel, whether you believe in God or not, right? Let's just talk about the pantheon of the Hebrew people. And Azazel, to him, all sin is prescribed because he showed men how to make swords and shields, right? How to make weapons of war, how to make instruments of death. So that's not true. If I show you how to do something that's evil, right on, or that can be used for evil, and you do something evil with it, I'm responsible for you. I have to hold you accountable because that's not what I showed you to do. That's not what we discussed. So for someone to say or to try to absolve themselves or try to exculpate themselves from all responsibility and accountability, first off, it's atrocious and it's heinous. That is the type of insidious nature, odious nature that these people engage in on a day-to-day basis, and nobody tries to stop them. Nobody tries to hold them and say, hey, look, man, hold on, bro. Don't you think it's weird that a not pot smoking Democrat was in office when they dropped nukes on people? Right. I don't think Joe Biden smokes weed. I don't. Even if his son smokes crack, there's a whole bunch of people who are what they call straight laced and their children are not, vice versa. So I always think it's weird that they try to like point that, like they try to put that off on somebody. But back to Yemen, just real quick. You have a situation in Yemen where these individuals were brought there to destabilize, were brought there to try to bring legitimacy to the claim of these guys being radical imams, some of them being parliament members, right on, some of them being journalists and whatnot. It took them years to put together. Like, damn, some of these look like targeted killings. It's real specific, right? This is why the Houthis are trained the way that they are now. I'm trying to give y'all the game. This is a sound victory. The same CIA that trained the Taliban. Okay, America is fighting against itself in so many words. Do y'all understand this? Right. Who do you think trained those commandos down there in Colombia? That's right. The Israelis went there first. Just in case y'all didn't know, it was not American special forces who went to Colombia first. It was the Israelis. Mossad agents went to Colombia. They're the ones who showed your boy Pablo Escobar and them how to use Simtex and how to blow up buildings and shit. That's why I'm always quick to say, like, yeah, man, it's not what people think it is ever. Right on? It's just not. You got a situation where you have a situation where somebody can claim to not have done something wrong, even though they're the only reason why this happened. Right. There were no oil tyrants until the Saudis struck oil, but really until they were told what it could be, what it could do. Right. Oil has always been on the earth. That's why it's called the Black Sea. Disbarring that, though, when you have groups like uh, the cartel south of the border, most of their high ranking guys, most of them are either prior military in Mexico or prior military from America, directly from America, special forces, Army Rangers, infantry grunts. Every once in a while, you have guys who are, admin and stuff like that, supply and stuff like that, who will work their way up because they're gritty like that and they really have that dog in them, as people like to say. But really, what it is they were always prone to violence. They just picked a job where this is a job they could get. They didn't feel like having to try to fight for a spot. It's nothing. And if I have to bang this rifle, I will. But shit, I'm gonna be kicking it. That's the difference. But now these dudes is high up, got bodies on their belt, got some rank on them, teaching these other dudes how to clear. Once again, it's not just America that's teaching dudes how to clear buildings. Right on. When I was in Latvia, that was some of the shit that they were showing them. I thought that was crazy because that was not part of that was not on the program. They told us everything that they were going to be doing there. They never told us that guys who used to be infantry grunts or were still infantry grunts were going to be showing the Latvians how to clear houses. Nobody said that. Right. Why would you be teaching them this? Why is that even important? Unless there's a chance that you believe that they may actually need those skills. Now, years down the line, some of those people thought that this time would never come, but here we are. Right. And those skills are invaluable. It's not just American soldiers who were trained to fight in urban environments where at one point in time, the only people who really understood it were the individuals that were doing the fighting in the urban environments. Pookie and Ray Ray do not stand a fucking chance. This isn't a Call of Duty video game. This shit ain't no Ghost Recon video game. This shit ain't a Grand Theft Auto. It ain't none of that. You get slapped in your T box, it's over. You get hit in your pelvic region, you are immobilized. More than likely. You move the wrong way, you will sever your femoral artery and you will bleed from the inside out. That's the real. And it's not just Americans who know that now, who understand those concepts. Right. It's not just Western trained forces and scant Eastern trained forces. Nope. Everybody gets it now. Everybody understands. You might be able to do double tap drills on lightly armored, what seem like not under the influence of stimulants. You know what I mean? Type of combatant versus somebody who's wearing armor. You shoot until they stop moving all the way. Right? Any kind of armor. Once once they have some kind of armor on them, you know what I mean? And then it doesn't matter if they have armor everywhere. It doesn't feel good to get shot. People keep shooting. Anyway, back to this. Sound victory. The victory seems so sound that they literally postponed the presidency for a year. This was talked about weeks ago, though, because they were supposed to do it this year, but they didn't want to do it this year because it would have potentially upended the dollar dominance this year. So they're going to give the dollar another year. They're going to let America bilk out billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine and to Israel and wherever else they have all these clandestine efforts going on at, right? Because those missiles that they're dropping over there in Yemen, those are $1 million a pop, half a mil a pop. That's a shit ton of money, y'all. That's a lot of money. Plus the fact that the jet that it takes to fly that shit costs millions of dollars. Like this is not, no matter how people look at it, when you understand logistics, it's a shit ton of money being used every time they do that. It's a bunch of money. Bringing me back to the money part. Sound victory. This is how I know that America is going to get eaten up from the inside out. You know, your boy, he just be figuring stuff out. Here we go. Let's go back to the very beginning of all this bull. Okay. Small town shaken as a hospital files lawsuit against almost every resident in Oklahoma. Hospitals are suing residents for $40,000. Deborah Hackler, a lawyer who sues patients on behalf of the medical center, recently sent out 51 debt collections to the residents of a small farm community in Oklahoma. For nearly 3 decades, these lawsuits have generated a hefty payday for Hackler and the hospital. According to the courts, Hackler has secured nearly $40,000 in judgments plus a 10% fee for herself from this type of lawsuit. Are hospitals allowed to sue? Since the early 1990s, the shadow of medical debt has loomed large over McAllister, Oklahoma, a small farming community of 18,000 residents. Records reveal a staggering number of nearly 5,000 debt collection cases filed by McAllister Regional Medical Center and an affiliated clinic. This aggressive legal pursuit has left its mark on the town, with some residents facing multiple lawsuits for unpaid medical bills. There's a lot that's not right. Sherry McKee, a dorm monitor at a tribal boarding medical school just outside McAllister, said at KFF Health News. McKee has been sued 3 times, including recently a bill for $3,375 for her vertigo. Healthcare debt is a huge American problem. Listen to this. Healthcare debt is a significant problem of more than 100 million Americans, affecting their finances, health, and well being in several ways. According to the $34 trillion dollars of debt Americans have, medical collection clogs the courtrooms. In small town America, a hospital's debt collection can go on for years. The influential and powerful people in the town seem to be helping the hospital get its way with it too. Seems to be helping the hospital get away with it too. So the people with the money, no shit. Who benefits from these lawsuits? In McAllister, the lawsuits create business from home. The Adjustment Bureau, a local collection agency that is located in a concrete building down the street from the town's courthouse, a Hackler benefit from the small claims lawsuits. Unfortunately, the common people, like patients and their families, are feeling the burden of the lawsuits. So the people who fucking create them, the Adjustment Bureau, a local collection agency that is located in a concrete building down the street from the town's courthouse, and Hackler benefit from this. Right. So the people suing you, and then the fucking collection agency. Let's just keep going. Now, I'm not trying to stick up for no poor honky tonk white folks, I just got to talk about how this shit is so important. And it's sound victory. When you don't have people who are well, you are destined to lose. And you make people disenfranchised and you create, there are more white Muslims in this country now. There have been more white radicalized Muslim white dudes created in the last 4 years, 5 years, than there have been in the last 50, all over the earth, but in this country in particular. According to the KFF Health News, McKee wasn't sure how she was going to pay off her recent judgment. The amounts exceed her monthly salary. One in five residents in McAllister live to the federal poverty line. This affects a large number of people in a small community. Attorney Janet Roloff says Roloff has been assisting low-income clients with legal issues in and around McAllister for a few years. Fuck around and get run off. You only been there for a few years, man. This has been going on for decades, they said. The hospital has its own issue that it's facing. Operated by the city's authority, the hospital is fading into time and it is in desperate need of repairs. According to the state auditor's website, the hospital has been operating in the red for years. I'm trying to find ways to get the entire community better and more care, said Sean Howard, the hospital's chief executive. The hospital seems to need more money. Everybody needs more money. The hospital operates as a clinic for low income patients and says that it has limited appointments and no cost for approved patients, according to its website. However, KFF Health News discovered that audits reveal that the hospital offers very little financial assistance. In 2022, the hospital was provided with $114,000 in charity from an operating budget of more than $100 million. However, charity care should have totaled $2 or $3 million out of $100 million budget. So they're saying 2 to 3% should have went to these guys, not 0.14%. You know what I'm saying? Like the money that you're supposed to be using. So somebody cooking the fucking books. Anyway, nothing's new. People are avoiding the hospitals now. Mothers have been hounded by bills after cradling their newborns, some being sued twice. Even those seeking solace in the sterile hush of emergency rooms find themselves entangled in legal knots. Most people in the town avoid going to the hospital for any type of care. Why do people not challenge these debt collection cases? The answer is simple. Let's keep reading. Why do people not challenge these lawsuits? Frightened by unfamiliar legal labyrinth and the prospect of courtroom appearances, hospital lawsuit victims often surrender their rights, never daring to contest the charges. Did you see that? Did you hear that? That's not saying that these people should actually pay this. It's that because they lack the initiative and they're scared to show up. The shame of needing the hospital in the first place, and also probably the anger of feeling as if, why should I have to pay for this? I'm an American citizen, la di da, la di da. But what they're saying though goes into a lot of things about the legal system. This is why people don't show up to contest tickets and other things that they should contest against their so-called reputation and good name. Financial barriers, time constraints, fear of negative consequences, and the lack of trust in the system lead to people feeling like there is nothing else they can do when a hospital sues them. There was a chance patients could win a lawsuit if they challenged it, like the hospital employee did, like this hospital employee did. That's a hospital employee, not a regular freaking person. Some states have put restrictions on hospital collections. In recent years, some states have stopped their health systems from suing patients after news that this was happening came to light. Several states like Maryland and New York have taken major steps to restrict legal actions against hospitals can take against patients. No doubt, because of all the people that died during so-called COVID, they have no choice but to fall back. Unfortunately, there are there are only 3 states that limit when hospitals and collection agencies can initiate legal actions against patients. 3 states out of the 50. And I bet you, anyway, I bet you they're all contingent. So, all three of them are probably in the contingent 48. So Alaska and Hawaii probably come after that ass. It's just when you just look at it, it's just sickening. What can you do to protect yourself? This type of collection practice is unfortunately common among all types of hospitals across the US. Reports that industry officials said that they are careful about who they target for unpaid bills. Most patients with unpaid bills are likely to get sued. Challenge questionable lawsuits and prioritize swift payments of hospital bills. This double barrel tactic can shield you from legal action by hospitals. Don't rely on the charity system and do your due diligence to protect yourself from any aspect of the corrupted healthcare system. Now listen, they're calling healthcare, not me. I didn't say it. This person said that this shit is corrupt. The screen is what? Oh, it's black. Oh, they're hating. See? See, bro. I'll have to figure it out. I have to figure it out. It says to share it right there. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch the whole thing. And then I'm gonna see which parts are black and which parts are not. See, that shit is crazy that it's even like that. But I'm not gonna sweat it. I know what I read. I know it's there. Those links are there. And as I was just saying, let's tie this little small town hospital into sound victory. If you're Rick and you're looking at all these things that are happening in America, number one, global dominance is being questioned and it is being fought for. Now, it's going to take several different nations to wrench and to wrest that out of their hands, but it's going to happen. And it looks like it's happening within the next 364 days. Number two, you have a system that has allowed individuals unfettered, unchallenged, and unabated to wreak havoc in so many more ways than just one on civilian populaces, not just here, stateside, but foreign. Right. It's okay. We didn't drop a bomb on you. We just essentially ended your whole life financially because there's very little work and the work there is. You see what I'm saying? Right. So they want people to you can't have small towns and then want people to abandon these small towns to go work where elsewhere. That's not how it works. You're going to want to live close to where you work. You see what I'm saying? Like this whole idea that this the whole idea that they put people through the meat grinder and they want people to act like they're not turning into freaking mince meat, you know, ground people meat on the other side. Craziest part is this though. We know for a fact that most of those are not black people. It even brought up the fact that, some of them might be natives. But they said that a majority of those people live next to the federal poverty line. So if you give me a hospital bill for 3,000, then it accumulates over 6, 7 years because I've never paid it, or I just don't think that what the services was worth that kind of money. You set me back so much, and this is what happens because people who live in cities, like I live in a city, so I could never be affected like that. I'm always be able to go get the money and go work for it. But people who live in the cities, uh, they don't get that same. They don't get the same thing. You know what I mean? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Bam. So if I have and this is just me using this little town because it's not just this town. There's people in the cities that are pigeonholed like that. It costs a shit ton of money to live in the city, right? So if you get hurt, you sustain an injury, your child gets sick, something like that, and you have to take them to the hospital. Now all of a sudden, what was a manageable situation might have just become very unmanageable. You know, the best way to do anything in a hospital is to pay with cash anyway, and that's to talk to the doctor and to let them know. Because once they know that you're paying with cash, right on, typically the amount, then you just let them know like this is all I have. You know what I'm saying? I have cash, and this is what I have right now for the services. So I'm gonna need a reduction in the services because I'm paying with cash. They're not dealing with an insurance. They get money right then and there from you. It changes the whole dynamic. But anyway, the point being this: you cannot put people in a position where they feel disenfranchised and then want them to help you when you need it the most. Do you think it's just Oklahoma that has people like that? You follow what I'm saying? Do y'all really believe it's just Oklahoma that has people like that? Do you believe it's just um um what's up, brother? What's up, bro? Peace. Is my screen still black, y'all? Because if so, I'm gonna have to correct that. But anyway, um, when you create a system where everybody is like disenfranchised, or there's a feeling of disenfranchisement, okay, cool, cool, cool. When there's that feeling everywhere, people um people they don't stand up the same way they used to. Like, do you really expect a person who is being told by the government that they owe whatever amount of money? Doesn't matter what you owe, doesn't matter what they say. But let's just say they say you owe them 50,000, but the initial bill was for $7,000, but that was 15, almost 20 years ago. And it's accumulated so much interest that now, you know, okay, so, but did it show the screen I was trying to share, or was the whole screen just black that whole time? I'm gonna have to go back and watch this shit, and I'm gonna have to let these niggas know. Hey man, don't do me no done favors, like my nigga James Brown said. Okay, don't do me no done favors, because I don't need that. But but yeah, I do need to know whether or not you guys can see that other screen. But I don't need YouTube doing me any. My fucking good God. Okay. I'll have to try to figure out to see if it'll work a different way. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'll have to play with it. I'll have to do a test. I'll have to do a test stream, a test stream where where I have the window up and I'm watching it, or I'll have to pull it up from my other laptop, and then I'll be watching from the other laptop, have it on mute, and then I'll see exactly what I need to do to get it to where people can see the screen. But if it won't work, it just won't work. But I just funny that they would even try to put that there. Do you know what I mean? To tantalize a nigga. But I see how it works. I see how they getting down. But I'm not even sweating that. Back to the original point. You can't have people disenfranchised. And Rick knows this. And Rick is at the point where the first one worked, the last two were blacked out. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna have to do is I think I have to refresh the screen each time and then go from there. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I will for sure figure it out. If nothing else, I'll um I'll use the same tab the next time while I cycle through them. Anyway, I'm gonna figure some shit out because if the first one worked, the last two should have worked. But I'm not surprised. I'm not. Nothing surprises me. Issue is this though. You can't tell a group like Iran or Iraq or anywhere over there that you have sanctions. Listen, I'm telling you whether or not you have access to your money. That's, I mean, that's always a grounds for somebody to want to like break your whole head. I know I wouldn't be surprised if somebody wanted to break my whole head open if I told them that they couldn't spend their money. and then told them that if they did, I mean, I'm fuck it, I already froze your accounts, right? And I'm thousands of miles away. You know what I'm saying? Like that's grounds to get your ass whooped on site. So I get it. I get it. That's grounds for anybody to get a whole total beat down. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody wanted to hurt me behind something like that. That being said, though, it's no different. If your citizens are like, dude, the taxes I do pay, you guys don't even take care of us. You know? I'm no disrespect. I'm not worried about homeless veterans more than I'm worried about people who are still in their homes that might lose their homes, but with a little assistance, they would be able to keep it. Right on? The homeless vets, there are systems for them. There are channels for them to go through. Most of the time, they're overly prideful and just don't want to deal with the government anymore. That's what it is. They're just tired of Big Brother being in their business and they'd rather tough it out. They were taught to be a soldier. This is the mindset of a soldier. Right on? You know, but they're not quick to want to help the people who should be being helped. You feel what I'm saying? Like as opposed to going out here and giving away all this money to homeless people who don't want to do nothing. How about you go give that money to people who work every day, right on, who want to work, who put that time in? And I'm not against nobody who's homeless. I've been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? Got a shirt for it. So I don't see why I have to advocate for somebody that's actively doing everything they can to stay in the streets. You see what I'm saying? If all you want to do is be in your tent and get high all day, I'm not trying to stop you. But at the same time, you can't complain and bellyache about what help you're not getting when you don't contribute nothing to nobody and you have people like a spot like that place in Oklahoma where they're like, "Yo, what the fuck?" You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you tell me that that's right? How can you say, "Yo, this is how we're going to treat the people who live in this town?" Does that even make sense? We find it a little. And it won't even say what the little small town is on this first little slide. Let me see. Can I get back to the first one? McAllister Medical Region. I'm sure if I looked up the hospital, I could find exactly where it said. Let me do so. Give me one moment. And all I'm saying, y'all, is that the struggle is real and the sound victory is real. When I say the sound victory, when you have somebody applying pressure one way and your natural system and the way you do things. So it's actually in McAllister, Oklahoma. 3.6 rating on Google. I'm not surprised. Oh, shnikes. Get this plugged in. There we go. Close that down, that bright ass light. Oh, man, I hate that light on my eyes like that. I can't stand it on my face like that. Anyway, McAllister, Oklahoma. How many McAllisters, Oklahoma, you think? I'm not saying that they're just like that, but how many places do you think are just like that? That have a person who's making barely over $1,000 a month, right? And the hospital saying that they owe them 8 grand, 9 grand, 10 grand in the city, just right outside the city. And this person has 2 or 3 children. And before this hospital bill, everything was kind of manageable and they're able to make minimal payments, but the interest that's accruing naturally, they're not even knocking the bill down. So it's almost staying the same. These sort of things are taking place all over the country. Out of that $34 trillion, y'all heard the article, the medical stuff is clogging the room. So when people try to tell you, like, oh, this is not important, that's hella important. because it's not just this place. Like I said, this is how they treat people. Now imagine if these were all black people. Imagine all the debt that black people have to hospitals. Right on. Imagine how much debt black people have to hospitals in, let's say, Philadelphia. Imagine how much debt black people have in hospitals in, let's say, Atlanta. Let's imagine how much debt black people have in hospitals, let's say, Detroit, right? And you name 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 more black hubs in the US, and how much debt you think your people have, and how that debt is holding them back. Can't get certain stuff done if you have hospital bills. Can't apply for certain loans, can't get certain things. It's just the way it is. You're not paying for this, so what makes me think you're going to pay for that? Okay, yeah, you pay your rent every month, but that's because that's where you lay your head at. You don't lay your head at a hospital. And I'm about to give you something or give you access to something, right on. And right now, your word or at least your credentials are questionable. This is how it works. I didn't say it was right. This is how it works. So when you have a situation in Afghanistan, like the third one, and it's too bad that y'all it's really too bad that freaking YouTube blacked out the screen. You know what I'm saying? Right before I end this joint, I'm gonna refresh and then I'm gonna try to run back and see if I just have to refresh the actual YouTube live streaming thing each time, or what's what. I'm gonna see what's what with it each time, because I don't like that, and I would prefer for if I think I know what I'm supposed to do. I think I understand what I'm supposed to do, but I want y'all to be able to see this stuff because the shit that's happening in Yemen, it shed light on the situation. If y'all remember that bombing that happened earlier this month or late last month at General Qasem Soleimani's anniversary over by his tomb, and you know how they blew it up and killed like 100 people, right? And then the Islamic State came out and said, "Oh, they're taking credit for that." Okay, when I seen what I seen, I was like, "Man, was this really this group Spear or somebody like them over there operating?" And are they operating under the guise of the Islamic State? Are they operating under the guise of Al Qaeda? While they're saying they're over there to eradicate them, are they actually over there making them stronger? Um, Dude said something that was just like so incriminating. And anytime you see somebody breathe hard or, you know, like you can tell that their heart rate ran up, and like it's like you got to be a people watcher. You got to really analyze people. You got to pay attention to people's mannerisms, and you have to watch different people from different cultures who do the similar or like things, so that way you know what you're seeing when you see it. And when you see somebody go from being relatively calm to, you can tell. You can tell. You're like, damn, nigga, what triggered you, homie? And the half breed dude, was triggered when the journalist man, she was grilling his ass with some questions. She made the one Saudi dude, she made him get pissed. That motherfucker was hot. But look, she told the dude, or she's talking to him, and she's like, "So did you take place in the assassination of so and so, such and such?" And he just started breathing hella hard. He was like, "No." And so I'm just looking at this dude, and then they're talking about like the operations that they were cleared for. And anytime you have somebody talking about, well, I'm being tried for a crime, but in this case, right, court martials don't work. And he's right, he's true to this. A court martial, in essence, is not, are you're innocent until proven guilty. It's more or less like he said in this case, is we had intel and we acted on it. Are they going to say that the intel was bad, or are they going to say that the actions were bad based on the intel? Like, because you can be mad at what I did, but you can't say that I did something wrong when I'm doing this job for you and I did what you asked me to do, or I'm doing what I feel I was asked to do by you. When you have people who have to live in exile, so there was a dude who was living in Yemen. He lives in exile now in Saudi Arabia. The reason why he lives in Saudi Arabia is because you cannot attack on Saudi soil and something not happen. It's not how That's not how it works. It's not how it works. That's why when that shit happened to the dude Jamal Khashoggi, that's why that was a big deal. Because it was like, man, the only time people come up missing is when y'all wanted to come up missing. And the Yemeni dude went over there. He's in Saudi right now. The There was a lady who was living off the Gulf of Aden. She had to get up out of there too because they killed one of her sons. Now I'm not sure if her son was out there playing militant or what. You know what I'm saying? And got himself killed. And I don't want to say it like that. Or if they just gunned him down because he seemed like the age of a combatant, you know. And she said, the trajectory of the shot, the way that it looked like it was a shot that was done deliberately and not a ricochet bullet, not the shrapnel from the bullet, not he could have just got hit with a bullet that was unintended for him. You know what I mean? Which is a drop shot. As people call stray bullets, but in military terms, you call those drop shots. And and Yeah, this lady's out there living, yeah, in exile, but these are not the only people. They killed, they probably killed hundreds, but they for sure killed dozens of people. Right on. So when Israel says that they don't know who did it in some of these cases, I gotta stand back. I gotta look, and I'm like, damn, are they fucking telling? Even though they're notorious liars. I'm like, are they telling the truth? Do are, is some of the shit that's going on really from America? Now here's the double-sided part to that. The individuals and the American state departments could easily be somebody who's of Israeli or Jewish background, who's signing off on these mercenary groups to be able to work with the UAE, because these Israeli dudes who might not be known Jews to the Saudis are giving them contracts to go in and hunt down so-called people who are bad actors and are against the greater interest of the entire region. This is how they get you. That is, if a fucking diplomat from America goes into your country and says you are a threat to regional security and we have viable evidence, you had better pray to God that they don't drone strike you, because that's typically what's coming. They're gonna hit you with that drone strike. That's a fact. But this is why but people are not here. This is why Rick has sound victory. That money article, the first one that I started with, which I could argue is the most important. I think that was the first one I started with. But anyway, uh, uh, I I believe that is the most important telltale sign for everything to come. So if the money's already messed up and people's medical is messed up, and we're using Oklahoma, right? We're using McAllister, Oklahoma as the barometer because 18,000 people, but 5,000 of them have outstanding collections, and that number's growing. So, and the lady who's filing all this on behalf of these collection agencies, Miss Hackler, she's making a killing. She's making a killing. She's not just making a living, she's making a killing. It's the American way, though. Right on? That's the American way. So, am I going to fault Hackler for being an American? For being a complete, absolute, all out opportunist, capitalistic? No, I'm not going to fault her for that. What I will say that it's unfortunate. unfortunate that she doesn't realize that she's playing an active role in the downfall of a country that she may possibly believe that she loves. That's what I'll say is unfortunate. That she doesn't realize that she's a bad actor who is acting in not just what's so-called bad faith, right on, but she's acting in a way in which it's going to be a detriment to herself. So it's almost like it's almost like not allowing your harvest, a tree, to come to full health before you take fruit from it the first time. So it never truly actually gets all the nutrients it needs to become the beautiful apple tree, pear tree, fig tree, plum tree, cherry tree, etc., etc. Right? So when you take from something and you don't allow it to flourish properly, it'll never ever manifest the way that it was supposed to manifest. And what we have is we have a situation where individuals, America had a chance to be all out benevolent. They had an opportunity to literally win over the hearts and minds over, you could argue, almost all the earth, but most of the earth for sure. Their benevolence could have dropped the guard of all the hardline Muslims, right on, and made it to where these dudes were dealable characters. But because they purposely wanted men's daughters to wear no clothing, because they purposely wanted men's sons to be extra effeminate, like just all out gay boy type of shit. We're not talking about um the person that's having like a naturally soft face, like where they just look like they're soft, but they might not be. Now we're talking about like real life, like, man, you need to check that. Right. If America hadn't tried to force its way onto everyone, saying that if you didn't live this way, then you were living in an outdated, backwards thinking mindset. I mean, to tell somebody who was actively living every day that they're backwards thinking, right? Has never done anything to you is unfathomable. However, when you have that sort of dynamic, yeah, you're able to do that to people. So now, furthermore, when you're put into a situation where, let's say how like Rick is put into a situation where China couldn't focus on quality product because they undermined and they undercut everybody, right? But America was willing to do that to itself. You follow what I'm saying? That's how sound the victory is. They outsourced all the work, and now they're complaining about diversity, equity, and inclusion. We outsourced it all. All the shit you're complaining about is to outsource workers. That door that flew off, that Boeing flight, that door was manufactured in Malaysia, where somebody makes pennies on pennies, okay, to get that part produced. Because an American manufacturer to make that would cost what it's worth for it not to be a defunct part. However, when you have a system that will literally promote medical procedures that have no empirical data, they're all scientific theory, perform the procedure on you, you have medical complications following the procedure, so you need backup and follow-up procedures, and now you're in their debt indefinitely, even though the procedure that they gave you was ill-willed in the first place, ill-fated in the first place. And it won't be till years later, maybe after your demise, maybe you're still here, but your physical health and well-being has totally deteriorated, that they come out and say that this was the wrong thing to do. And they wait years, and this is why they wait years and years and years to do recalls for medications, because they want it to kill off as many people as it can, so there's less people to make claims. They'll tell the doctors, hey, stop prescribing it, don't prescribe it to anybody else. Okay, boom. And then they'll wait, and then they'll wait, and then they'll say, okay, go ahead, launch the recall it all, say, yeah, if you did this and this and this, they've they're gonna settle, in court for tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions. Right on. Out of court, they'll settle for hundreds of millions for sure, just to keep it to where it never even goes there. They'll have the little infomercial come on the TV, and then bam, right? And then they'll say if you took Zoloft or Xanax or whatever, right? Or Xeljanz or some shit like that. If you took that, right, call this number. You may be entitled to a payout. But they wait for people to die on purpose. So these same people who were saying that the people down there in McAllister owe them are the same individuals who some of the shit that they did to them fucked them up even more than it helped them. Would you pay somebody? Listen, if you went to a car shop and you said, I have an oil leak, and they said, okay, you can go in, we're going to see if it's your oil pan, right on. We're going to see if any of your hoses, anything like that, anything, so want to check your engine, make sure that your head's not cracked, all that. Okay, boom. Check out your gaskets, everything is good, right? Okay, we cool. You leave about, and all of a sudden, you have an issue with not just the oil's still leaking. Oil's leaking worse than ever now, right? But now you don't have access to your heat, your AC, nothing. So you're like, what the hell did these dudes do? Right on. The system that you had was already not the way you wanted it. But now what you have now is even lesser than. Are you going to trust those? First off, do you want to pay them? Hell no. Are you going to trust those same mechanics to do work for you again? Probably not. You don't want to. But if they're the only mechanic in town, you're forced to deal with them. Right. My blower motor worked just fine, nigga, when I got here. Now my shit is fucked up. What's up, player? So, I just think it's weird. That we're in a situation where yeah, man, I just think it's a I mean, could you imagine if another country had the ability to come to America, designate you a terrorist, and then go about killing you? No day in court, okay? No day before the magistrate, nothing like that. They just go about trying to kill you based on information that may or may not be true. Even if they can validate it, it still might not be what they think it is. This is why if you ever go to another country, don't take pictures with your phone, with don't do none of that. Unless it's a tourist site where they allow you to take pictures, do not take pictures. I don't give a damn. Because that's how you get accused of espionage. Just Just like that. How many people do you think they have found doing that type of shit in their countries who were real life spies? Right. See what I'm saying? But who can come to America just doing that? Who can come to America and say, Leonard Judah, we think you a terrorist, or we think you funding or receive funding from those who we believe are involved in terrorist activities? What? Listen, we're not even saying you did anything. We're saying we think you are associated or affiliated with somebody. Can y'all hear me? We're saying that you're associated or affiliated with someone. We're saying that you may be a passive beneficiary of a certain group, clique, crew, uh, 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 party, whatever. Like my father used to say, I'm not one of your little fucking cronies. That's how I feel about that accusation. I'm not one of their little fucking cronies, man. I think for myself, I do for myself. But they would kill me, they would kill you before we even have a chance to voice that. They would follow us incessantly and wait until they felt that they had a perfect time to attack us with minimal damage being uh, 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 taken by their persons. Complete, utter cowards. Complete, utter cowards. Like, how hard is it if you're working with a group that has virtually unlimited funding? If you have the ability to call in an airstrike, your funding is almost unlimited. Like in the sense of compared to your enemies, if they don't have airstrike capability, your funding to them is almost unlimited. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because your ability to bring instant death within the next 10 minutes, 5 minutes, hour, however long it takes for the air support to get there to that location. And don't let it be that you already have a few drones stationed nearby and you have the operators for them and you're just like, yeah, man, kamikaze them drones right into the building for me while I make my escape. We're going to say Al Qaeda did it, or they're going to say Al Qaeda did it. It's not going to matter because the typical players are these people. The typical individuals to perpetrate these acts are these individuals. So that they're not suspecting us. Right on? They don't even think it's us. But when you are playing yourself into the hands of a sound victory, you do things like that, not realizing what are you going to do when BRICS is not allowing you to operate in that part of the earth anymore. Your dollar won't stretch as far as it used to stretch. Right. Right now, you can do all these operate. You see what I'm saying? What are you going to bring home all your assets and all your people that you got out there in the field who've been putting together all this evidence? So once again, it's difficult. It's hard for me to believe that there's been more suicide bombs. Think about what I'm saying. They want you to think that there's been more suicide bombers, more vehicle-borne IEDs, more IEDs all over the village, the city, the town, whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? The homestead. They want you to believe that there's been more of those explosions than people getting bombs dropped on them. Where they've dropped thousands of pieces of ordnance in Gaza. Have there been thousands of reported acts of suicide bombers this year all over the earth? Fuck no. But they would have you to believe that it's more likely that somebody's going to do an airstrike on you than somebody's going to actually blow up a building with themselves in it and suicide themselves. It's just way more likely that you're going to have a plane drop off a piece of ordnance. That's how it works. And when you have played yourself once again into the hand of a sound victory, where in which you can't even take care of your own residents. You would rather send money to places to support a war machine that does not. Don't you think it would be more beneficial for America to have paid off all those people's medical bills? Mind the fact that you got Ukrainians here who will probably be getting free medical care free all this. Mind the fact you got people crossing the border every day, getting free this and free that at the cost to everybody else who pays for it. So when you have those kind of situations happening, how long until your people are completely disenfranchised? I mean, that's a logical, reasonable question to ask. Right. I keep asking people, are you sure you want reparations? Are you still gonna want reparations after BRICS? After after they replace the dollar for global dominance, you still gonna want reparations? I'm talking about almost worthless money very soon. And it won't happen in one fell swoop, but it'll happen so gradually that you'll recognize the lies that we were told. People who don't have any silver, any gold, no kind of money put away. The people who lack actual hand skills, nigga. If you don't know how to use a hammer, if you don't know how to use a screwdriver, if you don't know how to use a socket set, you're gonna be asked out. You're gonna be asked out. There's gonna be a lot of people who are asked out coming real soon, and it's not what I want for them. That's not what I desire for them. This presidential election cycle, I see it as if Joe Biden stays in the White House, somebody in the Middle East is going to use a nuke. I don't know if it'll start a nuclear war. Like I've always kind of believed that there's going to be a nuke set off somewhere anyway. I've always believed that a couple of them might get set off in the earth, but I don't believe it'll be all out catastrophe like people paint the picture. Because I don't think all the nukes on the earth work anyway. You know what I mean? Um, I know people like to believe that they're properly maintenance and shit like that. Like there's a lot of things you would believe are properly maintenance that are not properly maintenance. Right. You would think that all those aircrafts that the people who are supposed to be protecting the country are supposed to be properly maintenance. Yet they're going down left and right at alarming rates. If they were properly maintenance like they're supposed to be, they wouldn't be going down like that. This is a fact. I don't I don't chalk all those accidents up to operator error. It's very difficult to do that. Right. So when you have a system that's falling down from the inside out, literally eating itself up from the inside out, what else am I supposed to believe? Am I supposed to believe that these guys stand a chance? So what happens if tomorrow the internet goes down? And then all these dudes from other countries, let's just say the people from south of the border start acting a fool the most. Right. You think those guys that are disenfranchised all over in these American cities, in these American towns, you think that they're gonna fight? Once again, the victory is sound. Rick set himself up for an automatic victory. I won't say a flawless one, but it's an automatic dub, y'all. They can't the only way they would lose is if America were to start an act out nuclear fucking war. That's it. America's lost already. And I don't know if people even understand that. Like, there is no victory for America. They're taking the L. As soon as they replace the dollar with shit that's backed by real life gold and silver, real life copper, nickel, right on. When dudes are like, "Shit, I'm gonna back this with some uranium or something." It's gonna happen. Those African nations that have the ability to back their dollars with other precious minerals other than silver and gold, they're going to do it. It's the only logical thing. And then what's gonna happen after that? Britain is gonna leave America hanging. Hmm. Now they might try to pull some slick shit on the last day and get fucked up, but before that, they're going to try to do what I think is the most logically sound thing, which is eventually join BRICS. Right. Nobody sees us coming, do they? What happens if Mexico joins BRICS? Huh? Then what? Anybody ever asked herself that? What happens if Mexico joins BRICS? And what happens if Brazil is able to corral most of South going up to Central America to being on board with it? Then what? Do you guys realize that they could, I mean, for everything that is imported into America, they could choke these motherfuckers out for it? The goods will cost that much more. I mean, phenomenally more. And who's gonna feel bad for you? Who's gonna feel bad for me? Who's gonna say, "Oh, woe is them over there in America"? Even if I sympathize with some of their struggles, it's okay. I'm not worried about them feeling bad for me. I'm just saying, who's gonna feel for us? Who's going to speak on our behalf? Sound victory does not always look good, but it is nonetheless victory. It's looking like the return of the Khan is just like it's right around the corner. And then there will be some squabbling over there, of course. China and Russia will eventually want to duke it out. India will cast its lot. But these things will happen in the next year and a half, 2 years. I don't give it a whole three, but it'll happen in the next couple of years where you start to see all of them really starting to backbite each other. Some ways will be more subtle than others. There will be things that we don't hear about, but there will be activities that we are made privy of that they do make us well known of, and it's gonna be one of those things where people are like, "Damn, didn't see that coming." But I already told the people what's what. So it's not gonna be like you didn't see it coming. It'll just be something that was not in your forward mind. So do your best to keep some of this stuff in your forward mind because it's gonna play out kind of critical. That stuff that's happening over there in Yemen, I'm telling you, the mercenary groups, that's gonna play that's gonna play terribly foul for America in the end. You don't go and put a place like that in imminent harm's way. Uh, the Saudis tried to wipe them off the face of the earth. Right. And nobody acts like that was a big deal. All because it's mostly black looking people over there. Right. So what do you think people are gonna feel when the shoe's on the other feet? How many of those guys are already here, y'all? I keep saying this to you, but they've let all these people into the highest parts of the society. There's a Kobylewski, a Kuklinski, there's a Ski, a Struvovic, you know what I'm saying, a Radmanovich, or something like that, somewhere high up. Where there's a Rodriguez, a Hernandez, a Garcia, yeah, a Jalisco, yeah, a Jimenez, all those type of people, way high up. There's a Lee, yep, a Win, a Vo, all those, a Chin, way high up in this society here in America. In this society, I'm not knocking. I'm not punching nobody low. I'm telling them what the fucking truth is. And the truth is because you have all these individuals who are in higher places than that. They would never allow that to happen in their countries. Never. They would never allow that to happen in their countries because they understand the danger of that. But America feels like it's so powerful. We can spy on whoever we want. We can tell whoever we want, right? We can make a story up about whoever we want, whenever we want to, however we want to, as we please to do it. But now that the shoes is about to be on the other feet, because the same people that you think that you're fighting against in lands thousands of miles away, they're already all here. They've already all been here. I told people about the guys who were crossing the border years ago who look a certain way, who might not be a certain way. I've been talking about this stuff. And now the articles are all matching up: Chinese, African, Arabs, all of them crossing the border down there. When I said it, people might have thought that I was just talking out the side of my neck, but it's okay. Niggas can think I'm talking out the side of my neck right now. That's okay. K. What they're not going to get to do, what they won't be able to do, is they're not going to be able to ignore the obvious signs when it's coming. I'm going to tell you the first sign of knowing that the sound victory is about to be set in, and everything that you're used to is going to get way more expensive. You can pray for some pseudo peace. You can pray for some magical type of shit to happen, right on, where there is none of this to happen. Listen, you can pray for that all you like. I'm telling you what to be prepared for. Know that it's done. Dunzo. Done. If your boy Trump takes office and he puts Vivek Ramaswamy as the Secretary of State, it's over. It's over. It's over. Like finite. And people are like, how do you figure that? You're gonna let a dude that has Indian roots become the Secretary of State, traveling out all over to the Middle East, going to go get around people who look like him, whether or not he wants to admit it, he truly still thinks like those people over there. He trying to work his way up. He's the ultimate. See, this is what I try to tell people: the ultimate spy, the ultimate agent, right on, has a certain way they go about it. Abe Lincoln. People can say all this shit that they want to say. What president before him signed the Emancipation Proclamation? Anything likened to that? Name one. Name the one who signed it. Anything like that before him? Name the president that tried to have a set of laws after the fact that black people were free, named after themselves. They were called the Lincoln Laws. Yes, they were. And they were going to give you basic rights that took 100 years for you to get. So sometimes when somebody's trying to get something done, they're going to look a certain way. And I'm telling you right now, Vivek Ramaswamy is a fucking agent for the East. That dude's an agent. And that motherfucker is just waiting. He's just waiting for his chance. He's saying all the right shit. He is saying all the right shit. Y'all just don't know what a villain looks like. That nigga's a villain. Whatever you think a villain is, Vivek is one of those. And he's working for the other side. Not only is he not a God-fearing type of person, he don't believe in none of that. Don't let that nigga fool you. He don't believe in none of that. But he also believes that everybody who's like us should be up under him anyway. See, they believe in that caste system shit where he's from. They still, they tried to. I told y'all that one of the reasons for the Punjab class for doing what they did, which was such an undermining to the Indian people, was that they strengthened the caste system. They didn't weaken it, even though they had the chance and the opportunity to. And anyway, that dude plus Nikki Haley. If if this bitch gets back in the White, I think people forget how incendiary this motherfucker's rhetoric was. This bitch was like bomb everybody. Do you remember this type of shit, y'all? Nikki Haley's a fucking bloodthirsty motherfucker, y'all. Don't ever let that get past you. If he lets both of those Indian bastards in, if Trump wins, both of those Indian bastards getting in the White House. This shit's about to go left. Even though they're part of the right, this shit gonna go left faster than anybody. Man, gonna make their head spin. It ain't there ain't gotta be no nukes then. It's just gonna go left. It's gonna go all the way left. But they're praying to God that they can get these dudes up in there to get them to try to soften the blow from the bricks. It's not gonna happen. Your boy knows way more than I could let on. The I in BRICS stands for India. Why do you think there's two major Indian candidates right now on the ticket? Because the only neutral party, real neutral party, the only real neutral party towards America that's in the Far East is India. But the smart Indians look at Americans as the distant bastard children of the British and the English. So they're not really different. And that's how the smart Indians look at it. Man, we dealing with Rick has so many people over here. I did a Rusi Hindi Chinny bye bye years ago. Probably like 2.5, almost 3 years. It's been a schminute. It's been a schminute. It's been more than 2 years for sure. And then the Rusi Henny Chinny Bye Bye, I was breaking down this complicated, complex, this very intricate relationship between Russia, China, and India, and how Rusi Hindi Bye Bye stands for for Russia, India, brothers forever. I'm saying Hindi Chinny Bye Bye is China, India's brothers forever. This is shit that they said back in the 60s, y'all. Okay? 50s, excuse me, coming into the 60s. But in order for them all to become nuclear powers, they all had to separate and go their own ways. So that way they could get the go ahead to become a nuclear power. Does anybody understand what I'm saying right now? Other than the few handful of people that I know who I know understand, but do people really get it? Because I'm saying in so many words that they brought everybody who's going to ruin this shit is already here. Right on? You don't it don't matter. They're already here. What, you gonna nuke the US too? See what I'm saying? Because that's the only solution. The US would have to nuke itself. Everybody who's a real life threat is already here. Some of the most dangerous people on the earth live in America who are not Americans, mind you. And they're just waiting for the moment. They have families, they have children, they have professions, they have all that shit. And they're ready to throw it away at a moment's notice. Before I get up out of here, and I'm getting out of here in a couple minutes, before I get up out of here, I got to tell people this so that way they understand the baseline simplicity of it. A sound victory, like this guaranteed. It's happening. The sound victory of Rick is just like a matter of time. I wanted to call this the way of the warrior and like go for, but this is more or less me explaining that they're gonna win and then using real minute details as to how this is gonna happen. So again, the medicine system is crumbling, collapsing. We know for a fact it's more than half of the 34 trillion. We know more than for a fact that more than half of the $34 trillion is in medical debts. That being said, another fine chunk of that is military. Right. Sick people don't fight wars, y'all. I'm not sure if I'm, like once again, like only a few of the people who actually listen to me are prior military, so it's sometimes it's difficult to get that point across. But like just like sick people don't like play sports, like you can't expect somebody who is like hacking up phlegm and like dead and dying type of shit. You can't expect them to get on the basketball court or on the football. You might want them to, you might desire, but you can't expect that. Same thing with the war in a combat zone. Yeah, they're a gun. Yeah, they'll shoot, but how effective will they be? Will they actually end up being a detriment to us? Right on? Like that kind of thing. So when you have a situation where the leadership doesn't even understand that we're not taking care of the people who would be the ones to fight these wars. Right. Imagine trying to tell a bunch of dudes who've been locked up in prison for years, hey, we need y'all to come and fight for America, for the fate of America. There's a shit ton of black Muslims in those prisons. There's a shit ton of white boy skinheads who are Wicca, right? They don't believe in no kind of God or nothing like that. They just worship the environment. They believe that the trees is their God, the air is their God. That's what they believe. Right. They're not about to fight for you. And the nigga Muslims is definitely not fighting for you. Right. See what I'm saying? All the woods ain't gonna fight. Yeah, all the Pecker Woods, you know what I'm saying? All the skinheads, they're not all fighting for this shit because some of them are disavowed individuals. Right. Most people don't look at it like that. Like, if you give somebody a reason to go against you, they will be against you. People are always looking for a reason anyway to go against something. So if you give them a reason, chances are they're gonna flare. It's gonna flare up. They're gonna go against you. So with America over in the Middle East, support, supporting actively the mass murder of a population of people they have flat. All right, between Tacoma and Seattle is right around the same population as Gaza. If you killed 30,000 people in the last 3 and a quarter months, 3 and a third months, listen what I'm saying. 30,000 people. Because they're saying 25,000, but there's still 5 to 7,000 people underneath rubble who you have to presume are dead. Imagine if somebody killed 10,000 people a month in, let's use Vermont, state like Vermont, right around 3 million people, some shit like that. If you killed 10,000 people a month in Vermont, they would declare some sort of emergency for sure. That's like, that goes without saying. That's a fact. They would declare some sort of emergency. No emergency declared. And the only individuals who had the heart to take Israel to the world court was South Africa, who have no business taking anybody to the world court. Right. That's why nobody. That's why it's not being taken serious. Because anybody with the operating mind understands what really happened. Even if these guys are occupiers, these dudes attacked them out of nowhere. Even if they didn't kill all 1,300 or 1,200 people, they killed somebody. They didn't kill not nobody. Doesn't matter if the intelligence failed. Doesn't none of that matters. You had this in your heart to do it. You executed it. You did it. Now, what you're getting from it is not exactly probably. Now, you want to say this is but look at how this is what they would. No, 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 no. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Imagine if black people did some shit like that. Imagine if black people showed up. See what I'm saying, right? And this is why any nigga who's talking about I stand with Palestine sounds like a retard because nigga, I stand with Yemen. Like I said, nigga, fuck Palestine. If it's like that, nigga, I'm for the people of Yemen all day even though I'm not a Muslim and I don't believe in none of the stuff that they believe in. They believe in what I believe in, but I don't believe in what they believe in, Right on. But I'm always stand up and stand for somebody who looks like me, who I know at the end of the day, if I really needed something, will more than likely look out for me, especially if I told them that I needed it. But yeah, they asked for what they got. Would anybody be, who would be surprised if black people went, rose up, killed a portion of a town of white people, and then the white folks came back and tried to wipe out all those niggas in that particular area, and then all the other niggas surrounding? Nobody would be surprised. Not one black person. Remember when those motherfuckers stormed the Capitol? Those insurrectionists, those traitors to their country, and how one of the things that a lot of people said, white people said it, black people said it first, but white people said it, too, and especially was like, if that had been black people who charged the Capitol like that, do you think they get the same response? Fuck no. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the proportion of justice and punishment or whatever you want to call that is always going to be relative to who's doling out the justice and the punishment. So Brother Scribe once broke down how the Israelis thought about using biological weapons, right? Like nanite biological weapons, like they were going to take the genome of the Palestinian people and they were going to create a weapon that would attack them at the genomic level. Do you know the only reason why they didn't follow through with that was because they found out that they had the exact same genomic structure as the Palestinians, meaning that they're Ottoman Turks? That's I swear to God, it's the only reason why they didn't follow through with that was because they found out that they were the same fucking people. So they were like, well, we can't do that because we just be killing ourselves. Because they would have essentially, they would have killed the Palestinians, but it would have for sure also killed the so-called Israelis. Sound victory. When you give up and you stop allowing people to vent their frustrations and you call the legitimate gripes and grievances, when you create acronyms like critical race theory, I'm of the belief that you are setting yourself up for a sound victory because I'm not allowed to disagree with you. I'm only allowed to agree with you. If I have a disagreement with you, I have to keep it to myself. I have to suck it up. So that means that when I finally get a chance to lash out, the way that I lash out might not be the way that you want me. Because you see what I'm saying? They want to try to control me and you like we're fucking little puppy dog animals. But nigga, we're not. I can think for myself. Once again, God gave me the sense that he gave at least a gnat. And a gnat got more sense than a little. Like Brother Andre says, try to catch one. If you think you're so damn smart, without trying to clap your hands together, just try to reach over and grab a gnat. Let's see if they stay there. Let's see if a gnat is so damn dumb. Let's see if they stay there to let you grab them. Right. We know they won't. But since you think a gnat ain't got no sense, go ahead and try to grab one. I got at least the sense that God gave a gnat. At least. As I get ready to roll out, I say this. The most obvious part of the sound victory comes when you realize that your enemies are their own enemies. Meaning what, Meech? Meaning the same people in Yemen, the same people in Palestine, Afghanistan, Iraq, all over. All those individuals were created by the United States. Yeah, by the British. Yeah. Yeah. And that they've been using the Israeli government as a puppet to further the destruction of the region and to try to keep their grasp over the so-called Holy Land. A lot of people think that Israel is on that America is on Israel's string, but you're looking at it all the wrong way. America is Israel's God. I explained this to y'all before, but I'm going to explain it to you again before we roll out. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that God brought his people out of Egypt into the land of Canaan or Canaan, the land of milk and honey. He did so with his own power. When you read the Bible, there is no government that supported Israel, not one. There's not a kingdom that supported them. No one supported them but the Most High God. Okay, who supports Israel now? A government. The government that's supposed to be America is acting as if they're in place of the Most High God. They give everything to Israel. They give them all their money. They give everything to them. And then they let them do whatever they want. And they act as if these guys are truly chosen. That is a sickness at the highest level. However, that's how I know that they're locked in for defeat. The victory will be sound against them. Israel will be pounded into dust. And it won't be because it wasn't their fault. It'll be because it was their fault. These are the kind of individuals who believe that their one life is worth the life of or worth the lives of whole nations. If they could kill all the Palestinians without killing those hostages, they would do that. And they would swear that they were heroes and that somehow God blessed them. May the Most High God continue to open the eyes of the people that they may realize and see that we are definitely in the days that are considered the last and the most evil days. May the Most High God continue to bless the people that they would be given a chance to repent for their sins and their evil ways, that they may turn from all their wicked ways and do that which is right. May the people realize that today is the only day that you'll ever have until you get to tomorrow. So everything you do right now is all that matters. I pray that the people see that our defeat was our enemy's victory, but our enemy's defeat will not be our victory. Our victory only comes when we completely denuclearize the entire earth and people can truly live in peace. I wonder if they think or thought to think that it was a good idea to let all these people in now. Mind the fact that the people who say it's a good idea to let the people in are not from the country. I wonder if John Smith thinks it's a good idea now. That as opposed to allowing those who should have been put in these places, something that Andre likes to say all the time, and we'll leave on this note. It's a shame that there's still a first anything at this point in the so-called year of 2024. There shouldn't be a first anything of people that have already all been on this earth. A first black person to do that should not be anything that we're hearing about ever. And yet we still are. So that should tell us all that we need to know about who and what we are dealing with. That they would rather anyone but us, they would rather a pile of piping hot dung get everything before we get it. With that said, brothers and sisters, I salute you because I know that your days are coming up. The morning does come quick. I salute you again. And I salute you once more. And I say to you just like this. The next time that they're talking about what America's going to do, how they're going to win this war, blase, 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 just tell yourself that the enemy of my enemy has a sound victory already in tow. Save your money that you can save, spend the money you need to spend, and always remember you don't need anyone's permission to protect yourself. Protect yourself at all times, remain vigilant, and I love y'all. I'll see y'all here real soon. Um, check out that. Got to check out the link with the YouTube video about Yemen. If you guys don't do nothing else, please do yourself that favor and understand that these individuals have been they've been leading us by the nose, so to speak. And I'm tired of it. And you should be too.